If you've ever felt like you're in a wilderness season, maybe a time of hardship, you're not alone. My name is Craig Rochelle, and the verse of the day is Isaiah 40, verse 3, when the prophet declared, a voice of one calling, and then he said, in the wilderness, prepare the way for the Lord. Make straight in the desert a highway for our God. The first 39 chapters of Isaiah talks about judgment, and then in chapter 40, the tone shifts, often called the beginning of the book of comfort. It's in the wilderness that Isaiah shouted, prepare the way for the Lord. This prophetic word isn't just an ancient declaration. It's actually a very powerful reminder for us today that God often does his greatest work in the wilderness. Think about it. All through the Bible, the wilderness, God called Moses to the burning bush in the wilderness. God spoke to Elijah through a gentle whisper in the wilderness. God gave Jesus the strength to overcome the temptation of the devil in the wilderness. John the Baptist preached the repentance of sin, prepare the way of the Lord in the wilderness. Why? Because God often does his greatest work in the wilderness. Recently, I was in kind of a wilderness season, a very difficult personal season, and I stopped and thanked God. I didn't want it, wouldn't choose it, but I knew God would use it. Because it's in those dry, uncertain places that we're stripped of distractions and we're reminded of what really matters. The prophet says, clear the way for the Lord. And so I'd ask you today, what do you need to clear? What needs to be removed for you to experience God? Maybe it's your sin, maybe it's pride or busyness or self-reliance. But don't panic if you're in the wilderness. The wilderness is not a punishment, but preparation. Why? Prepare the way for the Lord to work in you. Because we may enjoy God on the mountaintops, we get close to him in the wilderness. Today, we're starting a series where we'll look at some of the Old Testament prophecies that predict the coming of Jesus. Over the next 7 days, you'll see how the story of Jesus was revealed hundreds of years before he was even born to give his life for ours. And we're going to dig into the context behind some verses to understand in greater depth how the story of Jesus is told in every book of the Bible.